Hi, viewers. My name is Upesh Jain, and I'm the founder and host of the Exec Talk channel, here in conversation with Dilip Saraf, LinkedIn's top career coach. We talk about a variety of topics that can benefit you in your professional and personal life. And today's topic is how to hire right. Now, we come across many managers or senior managers or executives who are trying to fill positions in their organization and are selecting candidates from a wide variety of resumes and going through the interview process. Now, sometimes they find success, and other times uh, the candidate that's hired might be a misfit in the organization, which is actually a very expensive proposition because you might spend months trying to hire, and then you have to do damage control later on. So Dilip, the question to you is, in your consulting career, you've come across many such managers. What advice do you give them to hire right, to what kind of traps to look out for, and how to make this process smooth and effective so that they hired the right candidate?
Very good question. We spend so much time on the other side, which is preparing the candidate with mock interviews and so forth. But we just assume that the managers know how to do an effective selection process. And that other half is wrong most of the time, in the sense that they don't prepare as well as the candidates do.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say there are three things that affect this selection process, and that's the result of many false positives. The first thing is the managers do not take as much control of the process from the front part, which is early after the initial interactions the recruiters have, till the manager actually sees them. There's too much time is elapsed, and candidates get a wrong impression about the efficiency of a company and how they judge the company by how recruiters interact with them. Some of them don't call them back, some of them don't, all of those things, right? So they should take care of the front end well. The second part is the questions that they ask most of the time are very prototypical. Tell me about yourself. Tell me your weaknesses. Tell me your strengths. They don't really, people come well prepared for those. So you really don't get anything new out of it
Mm-hmm.
other than the scripted version, which don't tell you anything. People can fool you with that, right? But if you ask a person, tell me, tell me what your worst failure was. And if that failure was big, that means this guy takes big risk or this person takes big risk. Tell me at the time when you disagreed with a manager and you were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how that happened. So most people don't come prepared for questions like that. So they have to think on the spot. And that's when they reveal their true leadership.
Mm-hmm.
They are not able to do that. So I'm not saying create a template of these questions. There
Right.
should be some spontaneous questions like that. That's the
Mm-hmm.
second part. And the third part is when the final selection is ready for all of the stuff that is offer and references and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
they outsource the most important part, which is references.
Mm-hmm.
The manager should personally reference the client, potential interviewer or
Mm-hmm.
potential employee,
Mm-hmm.
because then they can ask specific questions about how does he do in meetings, how does he do with clients, how does he do when he's under pressure, how do they do when something happens this way. That is a real situation for you. And I
Mm-hmm.
just have a case with a very senior guy. This is a client of mine who hired a senior manager, did swimmingly in the interview. He was
Mm-hmm.
so impressed by it, he hired him on the spot. And now, 2 months later, he's completely tanked. He badmouths in the meetings, all of those things, right? And I said, why didn't you get the references check? He said, well, we outsourced it. You see what I'm saying? And now
Mm-hmm.
he has to let him go.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things are very wasteful, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is these three things, if people keep in mind, the managers, they will have far fewer less positive, false positives.
Okay.
I hope that helps you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically, what you're saying is if the hiring goes awry, it's a very, very expensive proposition for
Right.
not just the manager, but the organization. And if you do the work up front, you can save yourself a lot of expense and trouble.
And
And
start all over again, right? I mean, the
yeah.
cycle repeats. Cycle
Well,
repeats.
Dilip, that was a good tip. Thank you for shedding some light on this. And next time we'll meet with another